All right, gentlemen, are we
I'm ready to go.
ready to rock?
Yeah, rock.
Do we know how to do this anymore?
No.
Okay.
Completely forgot. Wait.
Then
Wait, I know how we do this. Usually I leave the room randomly because I forgot something.
Mhm.
And I need more water. So I'll be right back. I've been talking out of my ass for the past like 2.5 hours.
So maybe instead of water, you need an enema.
I don't have a response to that.
You don't have to. Just let that one sit. Just like an enema.
Well, we'll make sure to include that.
New
Welcome,
Year's intro.
everybody. You fuck. Talking over me.
Welcome, you fuck. I do. What's your point?
God. Hate it here. Absolutely hate it here. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Tougies Take Podcast. New year, same show. Your favorites, fellas. It is us. It is us. The guys, the fellas. We're here. We're back. 2023. We do need to put out hockey broadcast merch very soon. No, 2023 is very gross.
Yeah, why don't we have... Yeah, hockey fraudcast is the best thing ever.
Bang, that's what I'm here for.
It is. 2023, right? Because you said gross. How are you feeling about the new year? All of 3 days into it, have you adjusted to the fact that it's 2023? How was your holiday season, gentlemen? Let's kind of catch up here before we talk about the stuff people don't care about, the actual hockey. How are you? Sid, how are you?
So I was sick on New Year's, so I didn't do anything.
Happy
But yeah,
New Year.
I had to write the date for the first time, the new 2023 today, so that was exciting.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Once you're over 30, you're like, yes. The real excitement is remembering the year and not having to scribble out 2022 and actually writing 23 properly.
Yeah.
That's the excitement.
And then I realized this is the year my license is going to expire. And that's gross. I think my credit card, too. I got all kinds of shit expiring this year, so I'm going to have to do a lot of annoying adult stuff.
Do you think they're going to let you renew it?
I hope so. I hate my picture because it was when I was in deep in my alcoholism. I was super, super heavy, and I think I was drunk in that picture too at the DMV.
Oof.
That's where I was in life. If I don't have to get a new picture, fuck it, I won't.
I just had my picture renewed in the past month. So I had my initial picture, I think it was from when I was 18. And I just now got it renewed. Because for whatever reason, I was able to update it, but keep the same picture. And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. I don't want to take a new picture. So I'm at the DMV. I am too tall for the machine. I'm not even
You're
I'm
not
like
even that tall.
6'2".
You're like 6'2". Yeah.
But I was too tall for the machine. So my picture is very awkward because it's just me squatting to be in frame, and I'm half smiling because my fiance is laughing at me as I'm half squatting to make this picture work.
Apparently,
so I hope to never change my picture personally.
Apparently the heights are still programmed to the fucking colonial days. Apparently the DMV existed even then. That's why the revolution happened. It was because of the fucking DMV.
Oh,
little
man.
known fact: George Washington, 4'2".
Napoleon Bonaparte was the tallest man alive during that age. Jesus.
He was.
Don't get me started on that, because I will go into how the French inch was actually longer than the English inch, and so that's why it was perceived that he was actually shorter.
And it's still that way, let me tell you.
No, they use metric now.
I had that on
They're
my
smart.
Tinder profile 4 or 5 years ago, and damn it was true then, and it's true now.
I'm not even kidding. It's like a historical thing. I don't know if that's just the French. I don't know why they want to save face about Napoleon, but yeah, apparently he was actually, average height to on the taller side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just hey, fucking short man,
Yeah.
he sucked.
Yeah, and thus began the long tradition of men lying about inches.
See you next week, everybody.
Stop outing me, Jesus.
Oh God! Speaking of lying about history, before Endo, I throw it to you for your holidays. I took a week and a half off of just everything: podcast, streaming, making videos. It was fucking lovely. Had Christmas here. That was great. Posted on Twitter. Got the little Finnish language book that I'm still studying up on. One of these days, Sin and I will find a way to do a sports gamer broadcast with some Finnish, maybe all of it. That's the real goal. Find a way.
That's tough.
To do it. It'd be impossible.
I know how to say goal. That's about it.
It'd be embarrassing. But yeah, then we went to my parents, and it's like cool. I didn't even I didn't touch a game console in days. It was awesome. Mainly because I went to my parents. There's a bookstore throughout Maine, a chain called Sherman's, and I went there. And I'm like, man, I'm going to get me a book. And I did. So I literally spent my vacation reading. It was awesome.
Nerd.
I got this book. I got him right here. This is Tougie's Book Talk. Damn it. Book Talk. There's this book called Odd Man In, which I do recommend, which talks about the history of hockey's e-bugs, which we'll talk about the Winter Classic. There was almost an e-bug situation at the Winter Classic, which would have been incredible.
Did the Winter Classic happen?
It did.
It's marketed so poorly. I never know.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna talk about whether or not it's lost its magic. Boston and Pittsburgh.
Oh, that's right. It was
Fenway
Boston.
Park.
At Fenway. How quaint.
How quaint. For the second time, no less. And I also got this lovely book that I highly recommend everyone called "Lies My Teachers Told Me." That talks about how fucked up our history is from the from the Eurocentric American view, which of course includes Napoleon not being a short man and being average height. So there you go. That's how I tie it all together with my time off. Endo, your Christmas, your New Year. How you been?
I've been good. My biggest highlight is getting a George Foreman from my parents for Christmas.
Fair.
So I can make a burger and make food like just at my desk now, which is awesome.
So it's just made your fucking life so much easier for these podcasts. It's made it so much
easier. I can just go.
Now you don't have to leave the room to cook. That's good. At least we can start the show.
I can sizzle a steak mid podcast. You just like.
I just love that idea that we're in the middle of the show and you just start frying up a steak on a fork.
We're just gonna hear the sizzle. That's it.
Yeah, hold on real quick.
What shit is that? Holy hell!
It's amazing. Yeah, they're familiar with my antics with basically putting up the polls in Tougie's chat for what I'm gonna eat and all that and all that stuff. Yeah, but besides that, it was good. I actually have to deal with a possible theft. Yeah. So what had happened was my parents dropped off a gift from one of my relatives because I wasn't around. And then within the span of 15 minutes when they dropped it off at the front of my lobby, the front foyer, it was taken by someone.
Ooh.
So someone jacked my present I was supposed to get. And I already knew what was in it. And it was a whole bunch of it was toiletries. It was razors, shaving stuff, body wash. It was a bottle of vodka, 2 bottles of vodka in there. It was a nice gift. It's nice gift. Very nice gift from my uncle. And then someone took it and now it's hey, if you saw this bag, can you bring it back to we have posting up and all that. So that's the drama I had to deal with on Christmas. It's fucking great.
I mean, that sucks.
Yeah, that sucks. But you know what? I got whipped cream, baby. It's all I got a hot chocolate. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
That's good. I had a good Christmas too. I realized I didn't talk about that. I spent a lot of time with my cousins and aunts and uncles and cousins. They're little kids, little toddlers, which are adorable until they have a meltdown.
Oh man, that's my little children.
Then it's less adorable, but then they're cute afterwards. Still,
yeah. I got to have my parents, 2-story house. I got to have a house-wide Nerf war with my 9-year-old nephew and my 10-year-old niece.
That's such a perfect age too. Yeah,
it was so fun. Like the idea of like they were hiding in a bedroom and you just reach in the door and flick on the light and then walk in like SEAL teams.
Yeah.
Light them the
You gotta
fuck
clear
up.
those. You gotta pie off those corners, though, man. I need a full tactic.
checking.
Yeah, no,
Double
I
check.
was too. And then my sister came and picked them up, and then me, my fiance, and my parents had our own Nerf war.
That's so awesome.
Because once the kids get their time in the sun, the adults are like, no, these toys are really for us. And I had gone to a store the day or so afterwards, and I was walking through the toy aisle, and man, it would have been the best $30 purchase I had ever made, and I should have. There is like a Gatling gun Nerf toy.
Yeah. Oh my
and
god.
I so badly wanted to get it and just walk in the house and just light them up.
Yeah,
So
dude,
that's-
man.
Hellfire
the
bullets.
Nerf guns have gone nuts, man. Like, there's actually
yeah.
clips. I don't know if they have the clips anymore.
Yeah, they have clips.
Do they? Okay, I thought.
And they have like, they have
canceled
one
those.
now where it's like it shoots like fucking gel beads instead. It's insane.
Crazy.
It just give them bullets at this point. Like honestly, we're getting there.
I love
we're getting
Nerf
there.
guns, but like
Baby's first airsoft, basically.
That's pretty much what it is. Yeah.
Reminds me of when I was in Army Cadets for a bit. One guy had like a whole like thing of Nerf stuff, and he just like painted it all like black and all that. It still had like the orange tip on the front, so we didn't fucking pull up and get shot in an army base. And so then one day we're just coming back. We're just like going back to our barracks, just chilling. And then he comes out of nowhere, like it's the middle of the night. He comes, he's like, "I'm going to catch you." Just starts shooting off like at least like 1,000 of these, like 1,000 just in the fucking room.
nice.
As you do.
Oh man, it was
As
great.
you do. Yeah, I can't recommend Nerf War enough. It's
great.
it's fun. It's a good time. So glad to hear we all all had a good time. And yeah, 2023 is here, and excited to see what this year has in store for this show. As we got a good we got a good 15 minutes in there, and then it goes downhill because we got to talk about hockey.
Oh,
Although we do have a decent amount to talk about today, which I am relatively excited for. Before we get into that, though, as always, we're talking about some New Year's resolutions. Speaking of, actually, do you guys go down that path of New Year resolutions at all, or are you just like, no, I'm going to make general improvements. I'm not going to.
I thought that was going to go somewhere else.
I honestly, I make
What?
resolutions throughout the year.
Right?
I'm always trying to grow and stuff like that. So
Yeah, why have it just set to like, oh, it's January, let me put all the pressure on this for no reason whatsoever,
Fuck you! It's January.
I hate myself because it's January now. Let me think about everything I need to improve.
There you go.
Well, just not a fan. Just work on yourself throughout the year, like Sin mentioned. That's the way to go.
Yeah, set mini
the way to do
goals and do the thing. What do the youth call it now? Fuck. It's like you tell yourself like, oh, I can do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna have that. Not materialize, but like it's another word for it. Hold on. Fuck.
I know what you're talking about.
You can't remember the word. Yeah.
I'm gonna let you flounder.
Fuck it. Hold on. Manifesting. Oh my
There you
god.
go.
So I was
You
doing
did
this speaking of manifesting, I was doing a program and like for the past like 6 months, and like they were basically like really being like, yeah, you gotta manifest your dreams. And I'm just sitting here, I'm like, bro, what the fuck is going on here? Like I get like, being wanting to reach a goal, but it's like if you tell yourself you're gonna like do it, you're gonna do it. I'm like, yeah, I am gonna eat that double Big Mac and not have fucking kidney failure in 2 years. That's what I'm gonna do.
I am a strong, independent nutsack.
Don't need no balls.
That's a reference for very few of you, but for those of you who do recognize it, you're welcome. Speaking of manifesting self-improvements, as I totally derailed my other segue, as always, we want to mention that this podcast is brought to you by our lovely friends at manscaped.com. And what better time now to take care of yourself in the grooming department, to better yourself in a general sense than with Manscaped by going to manscaped.com, by using code Tougie, Tougie at checkout for 20% off your order and free shipping. Manscaped, the best tools for the job, the fine circular, cylindrical deodorant still there. Still
And the body spray. I've moved on to the body spray. I have used up all of my cylindrical deodorant. No, I did not eat it. Leave me alone.
Code Tougie at manscaped.com, everybody. We thank them for still sponsoring the show heading into this new year. And we thank all of you. And hey, thank yourself if you have been one of the many to indulge in using Code Tougie at checkout. With that, gentlemen, the first batch of viewer questions for the new year. And of course, as always, the link to the Discords in the description to be able to get your questions in like these fine people did. Let's start off with Garber and Sin. San Jose Sharks take center stage.
Didn't even know this.
Things off. Garber asked, with the news that defenseman Ryan Merkley is available via trade, what team is the best fit in your eyes? So, indeed, it was Frank Saravalli earlier today. Sources say the Sharks have made 2018 first-round pick defender Ryan Merkley available. Merkley recently requested a trade, and the Sharks are trying to accommodate. Merkley, 22, has played 39 NHL games and still has waiver eligibility.
Rough. Not happy about that.
Now, he was someone, kind of had the reputation of maybe being immature, whatever, heading into the drafts. But, it looked like he was finally starting to kind of break through, the 39 career games. And yeah, now it's just not going to happen. He wants to move on. And I mean, in terms of the proper landing spot, who's to say? I mean, he was highly touted as a very offensive defenseman. Can you fix the defensive side of things? And with players like that, sometimes you end up being Erik Karlsson, and sometimes you end up being, someone like TJ Brennan. Very respectable, like AHL level career, but the lack of defense kind of holds you back from being an impact player at the NHL level. So I don't necessarily have a great landing spot, but yeah, Sin, I guess the optics for you as a Sharks fan,
it sucks.
4 years removed from drafting the guy, 18th overall, 21st overall, excuse me.
Yeah. Early.
We always
early for
kind of go back. Sorry for cutting you off, but
no,
we always kind of go back and look at the draft. The pick after Ryan Merkley, the New York Rangers picked up Keandre Miller. If we still look at defensemen, the Ottawa Senators picked up Jacob Bernard-Docker, Nick Bedan for the Chicago hockey team. The Rangers ended up with Nils Lundqvist. The Leafs, 29th, ended up with Rasmus Sandin. So,
yeah,
some hits, some misses in regards to the 2018 draft already. And, yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, isn't it?
They went the full skill route. And honestly, I think I don't know. I think they're not using him because they already have Erik Karlsson. But in my opinion, you don't give up on a defenseman at 22. But if he wants a trade, it just sucks because his value is not going to be great right now.
No, I mean, unless they pull off the, the miracle of like what the Rangers pulled off with Nils Lundqvist to get a first round pick back.
Yeah, like that's the only return that would satisfy me because this it's really giving Merkel Mueller vibes at this point.
Yeah, they've had some rough luck over the past decade.
And again, I feel like they've done a pretty decent job of trying to bring him up slowly, and I still think that 22 is too early for a younger defenseman. They all developed slowly. Remember how many people were trying to call Dahlin a fucking bust?
Sure.
Rasmus Dahlin's now what, 22, 23? How the fuck old is Rasmus?
Same age, same draft.
Exactly. This is the point where they're gonna start breaking out. But yeah, the Sharks are in such a weird spot that you're not going to use an OFD guy in the bottom six. You have Erik Karlsson. It sucks though. It really sucks.
I mean, you would think for the Sharks, it's exactly what they would want. You want that type of defender in your system, especially
Erik Karlsson's
if they
32.
were, if they were to actually be exploring a Karlsson trade. You want Ryan Merkley there to try and mold him into being the replacement.
Yes.
Not saying it's a direct 1-to-1, but
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they should have been playing him in the NHL pretty much all year this year. Like what the fuck? Why not? Like there's no reason to. I don't know. They're like, oh, we want to be a tough team to play against. We want to shift the culture. Blah 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 blah. And they wanted to keep all the younger guys in the AHL to build that new sort of culture. But Merkley was in the unfortunate spot where he was just kind of like in between. You know, he's kind of on. He's not quite the NHLer, and he's not probably wants to move on from the AHL. So yeah, I don't know.
If you want a spot in the NHL, Arizona, have fun. Maybe you can be the Shane Gostisbehere replacement when they trade him at the deadline.
At this point, until we complete a trade, put him in the NHL. Put him in the lineup. Like boost his at least try to boost his value, or give him or show that and I think that would improve. It would be good for both parties. For one, he's going to be able to prove what he could do on an NHL team. He'll be hyped up to do that. He'll try to play the right way, and he'll try to have an impact. That's great for both parties. I think that's what the Sharks need to do at this point is, okay, put him in the fucking lineup. I don't care who comes out. You have a bunch of plugs. Like, we're not winning. Put him in. There's nothing to lose.
And there is still time. Just because someone requests a trade doesn't mean it's necessarily going to happen.
Sharks are going to get a return as best as they can and not just throw them away.
Talking about the Winter Classic, there's a player yesterday. Sin wouldn't be aware of this. But, there's a player yesterday who had a very good performance who once famously requested a trade not all that long ago. Want to get to question number 2, though, from a Broken Wheelchair. For his development, who would be the best team for Connor Bedard to go to and the worst team for him to go to? So, this will kind of be our World Junior discussion. The tournament in general is down to the Final Four. Czechia plays Sweden. The United States will play Canada in the semifinals. But this entire tournament has essentially been the Connor Bedard show. He has set the Canadian point record and goal record in a single tournament. Despite the fact that Slovakia's goalie stopped 53 of 57 shots against Canada last night to nearly steal that game in overtime. It has absolutely been the Connor Bedard show. And, we're going to talk about it here in a minute, kind of looking at the standings and where certain teams are, because he is single-handedly altering the course for how certain teams, I believe, will approach the rest of this season. Because that is the type of player where if you are on the fringe, you risk it in the draft lottery. And I think there are a lot more teams now that will look to probably risk it in the draft lottery. He has 21 points in 5 games.
Yeah.
It's absolutely absurd. The next highest score. Any guesses, gentlemen?
Probably
It's like
12 points.
Like 8 points or something like that.
A little bit in between. 11 points in 5 games for the USA's Logan Cooley. He has 10 more points than the second place guy. It's ridiculous. There's only 3 players as well who have double digits. It's Bedard, Cooley, and Jimmy Snuggerud.
Yeah, Pittsburgh, damn.
Cooley with the Yotes and Snuggerud with the St. Louis Blues.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. Look foolish, Sin, for the first time.
I know, I literally looked it up and I saw Pittsburgh Penguins, but I must have looked at the wrong thing.
The Winter Classic. As we all know.
Maybe.
So in terms of, where Bedard could go in terms of his development, apparently not the New York Rangers who scratched Alexis Lafreniere before their game on December 29th. Any thoughts on that, by the way, given that we've talked about Lafreniere's development quite a bit, and to see him scratched, like, inherently maybe not like the worst idea. It's not unheard of, but at the same time, when there's already questions about, your usage of this first overall pick, I would disqualify the Rangers in terms of developing prospects.
Yeah. They They really suck at it, apparently. Keandre's been great, but
He's one of the two.
yeah, like Capo Caco is still like what's he gonna end up as? He just has so many question marks, and yeah, Lafreniere is just really haven't seen, the potential even come close. Like we really haven't seen any of it shine through at the NHL level.
So yeah, we'll disqualify the Rangers, disqualify the Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah,
and the best answer is the San Jose Sharks. I refuse to give up on this. I want Bedard on the Sharks for your sake, or I want him on the Coyotes to watch the world burn.
I want him on the Sharks because obviously, but there's like no way that he's going to go to the Sharks, the Ducks, or Arizona. There's no way the league is going to let that happen. He's going to go to fucking Chicago. Like,
yeah,
I'm
that makes
almost
sense.
willing to bet my fucking life on that he's going to go to Chicago. I mean, Chicago was like 12th in the league. They still got the 3rd overall pick. They get just insane stuff, and then they throw it away. They traded away DeBrincat, and then they traded away the other dude. And they seem to be actively tanking for him. So,
they are.
I would very much see
tanking.
That franchise get rewarded after everything that they've fucking done, and still having Rocky Wirtz as part of that organization. But they're likely going to, and then that's going to be the new narrative. No one's going to care about everything bullshit that's happening with that Chicago organization, and it's just going to. I guarantee you, this is the way they're going to smother all the bad PR, and the league is like, we can't have an original 6 franchise looking this bad. Here's Connor Bedard, and there's the narrative.
Yep. I can't disagree with that. I simply can't. It's just far too on point, and yeah, it certainly would help kind of, prove that, hey, Chicago, we're moving on to a new era. We're not going to talk about the past. That was a quote less than a year ago from Rocky Wirtz. So. We're here to talk about the now. Connor Bedard. He just, Rocky, we're here to talk about the now. He said it about a year early. A year earlier than he meant to. Chicago, by the way, Tankmaster Generals, 1 win in their last 10. They, at one point, lost like 13 of their last 15. They are currently dead last in the league, the only team with a winning percentage under 8.3. So, there you go. I think Sin nailed it. Coming soon to a Chicago hockey team near you, Connor Bedard. Unfortunate. Our last question comes from Hawks, which will kind of switch us over into actually talking about the standings too. Which team in the middle of the pack, record-wise, in the NHL can you see making a run for the Stanley Cup playoffs? So I wanted to look at the standings and kind of play go for it or sell in relation to Connor Bedard, essentially.
Yeah.
In the Eastern Conference, you have 3 bottom feeders where it's fairly obvious you're not going to make it. That is Columbus due to their litany of injuries, Montreal by design, and Philadelphia, not by design, but everyone knew for the most part that team probably wasn't going to be pretty good. But you have Rasmus Ristolainen forever and ever, amen. So that's good. Then there's this second category. Is their roster good enough to compete? And that brings us to Ottawa, who are currently 7 points out, and then Buffalo and Detroit, who are both 6 points out. The question of whether or not any of those 3 should go for it, or, maybe sell a little bit to try and get in that Bedard sweepstakes. If I'm all 3 of them, I play the lottery. I think Ottawa took steps forward with DeBrincat, with Claude Giroux. Buffalo has obviously really had it work out incredibly well with the Jack Eichel trade and Darlene's emergence and Tage Thompson. And Detroit, and we'll talk about them a little bit more in depth later because of news today. But Detroit had that very, very big offseason, bringing in, Perron and Kopp and everybody. It felt like Ben Sherratt for some reason even. Let's bring in everybody. If I'm a fan of any of those 3 teams, for me, it's let's just play the lottery. And man, if you get a Bedard, I mean, Jesus, you had New Jersey win the lottery from 13th. So who's to say, But that leaves one more team, and that's Florida. The Panthers are 8 points out of the second wild card spot right now. However, they have to go for it. They have spent way too many assets. They have no first-round picks in the next 3 drafts, as we talked about. They have to go for it. So, really, in the East, you're talking about, I'd say, kind of that trio of Ottawa, Buffalo, Detroit.
Bro, I can't believe Ottawa's ahead of Florida right now. Holy shit.
Yep.
Florida is so fucked.
They fucked up big time.
They overreacted. I told you they overreacted. They're like, oh my god, we need grit. Let's trade for the biggest grit in the world and give up 2 crazy pieces.
It's a rough scene. So, like I said, for any of those teams, Ottawa, Buffalo, Detroit, could I see them making a run? Yes. I don't think they should. The West, outside the playoffs, you have your bottom feeders, Chicago, Anaheim, San Jose, Arizona. Very clear they're not going to make the playoffs. That's not even a question of whether or not they should add. There's one team in that conversation of are they good enough?
Sorry. I just saw Anaheim Ducks goal differential, dude. It's -70.
Whoa.
Yeah, there was originally a question from one Scroopy Noopers, actually, asking
the fuck happened there?
Yeah, basically asking like what's wrong with the Ducks.
Yes.
I don't know. Everything. Yes.
John Gibson's back is broken, so he can no longer carry the team.
Yep.
There you go. That's the only answer at this stage.
Still a 90 overall.
Not for much longer once I get done with the roster editing process. Not for much longer. So you have those 4. There's the one team in the are they good enough category. That's Nashville. And again, much like the Eastern Conference teams, no, they're not good enough. I don't see really a great situation in which Nashville has that roster to make a run. It's more so like, okay, they could make a run, but do you want to bet on it or play the Bedard sweepstakes? Again, I'd play the Bedard sweepstakes, which leaves 2 teams in the West that I think there's a real big conversation surrounding whether or not they should add to try to go for it or blow it up. Vancouver, who are 7 points back of the second wild card spot. We've talked about it all season long. Bo Horvat's deal is up. Brock Besser's name is out there. Thatcher Demko's out injured, and he wasn't playing well to start the season. And then there's JT Miller. The whole stick-tapping incident with Colin Delia, whatever, which again, Vancouver's down, and he skates behind his own net and is banging his stick on the top of the cage, telling Delia to go to the bench. And then he had this really weird quote yesterday, essentially defending his drop in production because he's been playing defense, which isn't backed up analytically.
Bro, it's not even backed up by the eye test. Like, I saw that tweet on the brief time that I was on Twitter for some reason. I can't remember why. And I'll probably retweet a sports gamer thing. But yeah, I saw that tweet and it blew my mind. I'm like, JT Miller is really saying that he's not producing because he's focusing on defense. If that's him focusing on defense, holy hell. Because he's awful.
Yeah. So
man's gaslighting a fan base.
Basically, right? Like that extension doesn't even start until next year, and that entire fan base is rightfully so having a collective existential crisis over this one player and how much of a I don't know. I don't recall hearing too much about JT Miller, but all of a sudden,
J2E Millerson. Sounds like a droid.
It's just this thought of how much of a locker room cancer is he? And is he a guy that you want on your team for 7 years after this one? So I don't know what to make of the JT Miller Vancouver situation at this point, where you're talking about someone like him potentially being there, but Bo Horvat not. Yeah, if I'm the Canucks, play the Bedard sweepstakes. try to move on from certain players if you can. Try to find a way to get JT Miller the hell out of there, apparently, because this is going downhill faster than like when Tortorella was head coach. Like that's the last time I've seen like the media and the fan base turn on someone, a crucial part of the team.
I don't know how the Canucks keep doing this to themselves, man. They keep making the literal wrong decision every single time. They should have traded JT Miller. I don't know why they decided to keep him, especially when they knew Bo Horvat's contract was coming up. Why'd they acquire Ekman Larson? They traded 3 expiring contracts, which would have been great for them. Get the money off the books for 1 contract that's longer. Like that was the literal opposite of what they needed to do.
I'm starting to feel bad as a Boston Bruins fan. And that doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
But I am starting... Sin's like, rethink that opinion. You should feel bad.
Never get to see another riot, unfortunately.
Well, see, the riot's hilarious. However...
there we go. Get figure
We're back
in the street, boy.
Boys.
Vancouver Canucks, oh yeah.
God. It's just the idea that the Boston Bruins ruined that franchise. And I for the most part, liked Vancouver at the time. I wouldn't have been opposed to seeing the Sedins get a cup. There's a couple of people on that team that, it would have been, it would have been kind of shitty to see them win. I'm not upset for them. But you're right. Ever since then, and we've been calling this out now for 4, 5, 6, 10, 12 years, just how screwed up the situation's been for that team since their loss in 2011, to the point where I, as a Bruins fan, am starting to feel bad. I won't trade you, though. But I'm starting to feel bad.
Yeah, like that franchise just has been in turmoil for so long.
The other team in the West is the St. Louis Blues. Now, despite the fact that every Blues fan has been screaming as if the sky's falling, they're only 5 points out of the playoffs right now. However, Ryan O'Reilly is out with a broken foot. He won't be reevaluated for another 6 weeks. Surprise, surprise, Vladimir Tarasenko is hurt again, out with a hand injury for at least the next month. They are also without the likes of Torrey Krug, Marco Scandella on defense. Again, it's just kind of the common theme for all these teams, right? The question was like, who on the outside do you think should make a push? None of them.
Yeah.
None of them.
They're not set up at all to make any sort of just... thing. You could like acquire someone at the deadline and that could help you out, but like at this point there's no real point for a lot of these teams. This is going to be such a big draft that like anyone near like the bottom or someone even in the middle can just get a good player. Like it's going to be that big of a draft this year.
Whether or not you're a Nashville, a St. Louis, a Vancouver, if you go after the playoffs, you're essentially wishful thinking it and saying, well, the 20, and I said it on this podcast. I still stand by it. Like, yeah, you can make the playoffs, from being dead last in January to winning like the Blues did. It is possible. Is that the bet that you want to take? Or do you want to take the gamble that could land you Connor Bedard? And which one's more likely in a lot of these instances? For most teams, I think, especially after seeing what Bedard has done at this World Junior Tournament, where his hype level was already high enough, and now it's through the goddamn roof, you play the lottery to try to get Connor Bedard.
Yeah.
With how strong, especially, some teams in the league have been this season. If you look in the Eastern Conference, and you are Detroit, Buffalo, Ottawa, do you want to gamble to try and somehow be better than Carolina, Boston, Toronto, Tampa? Or do you want to gamble for Connor Bedard? The answer is pretty straightforward. In the West, if you are Nashville, Vancouver, St. Louis, do you want to gamble to be better than Dallas, than Vegas, than Edmonton? Although, granted, Edmonton's in the second wildcard spot right now. or do you want to get Bedard? Try to get Bedard at least. If you're in the West, I think that gamble might be a little bit more worth it because I don't know if I'm totally sold on the Western Conference right now. It just seems really weird. But even then, Connor Bedard, you just have to go for it, essentially.
Yeah, this is going to be the biggest draft in a long, long time. Like, Connor Bedard could be like near McDavid level. Like, he's looking.
There are people who are
pretty
already
scary.
saying he is. And, hype level being what it is, it's almost tough to disagree with already.
Yeah,
Like-
I'll have to wait to see what he's able to do at the NHL level. Because McDavid's still McDavid, but wow, imagine if we had two fucking of those type of players in the league at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it hasn't quite happened in that since Crosby and Ovechkin, and these
Right.
guys might be a level above both of them, which is kind of nuts.
I mean, Crosby, Ovechkin, granted, the age was a little bit closer, but yeah, just that
Yeah.
general idea of two generational, like truly generational talents at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm intrigued, but I'm all aboard the hype level because I want Connor Bedard to be as good as advertised.
Me too.
It could only be a good thing for the sport in a general
Yeah.
sense.
And I hope he's in the Pacific, because God, imagine in the McDavid versus Bedard games. It'll be like the Crosby and Ovechkin type level, like when they played against each other. Like, that's the only argument for the league to try to make them go to the Pacific, but they're like, we don't like any of these fucking teams. Not that I'm saying the draft lotteries are rigged, but I'm also not
imagine
saying
him
that.
on Anaheim. Connor Bedard, Trevor
Nope.
Zegras, Mason McTavish.
Nope, don't like that. Anaheim already has enough good prospects. They just need to stop being stupid and sucking
Fair
and
enough.
stop letting their young guys get injured. Poor Drysdale, by the way.
Yeah, that was pretty unfortunate.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Connor McDavid, and that will bring us into talking about, kind of the award situation right now, as it always does towards the start of, a new month. And in terms of the Hart Trophy for MVP, the Ted Lindsay for most outstanding, yeah, it's still Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
How could it not be? 38 points, 38 points. He had 38 points in like 12 games. He has 72 points in 38 games played this season.
I want him to hit 150. I want it to happen. I don't know if it will, because we know the game, it starts tightening up, towards the playoffs. But at the same time, the Pacific sucks.
He's on pace to do it.
I know. And that I really, really hope he does get 150 points.
We were talking about this last year too, were we not? Just the idea of like, what if Connor does it? Can he hit this astronomical height? And he got close. Essentially, yeah, he very much could end up hitting 150 points. He is the first player to have a set of seasons, calendar years, back-to-back, of at least 140 plus points since Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux did it in 88-89. We mention these all the time, but stats like this are insane.
Yeah, maybe that's a more closer comparison to McDavid and Bedard, is Gretzky and Lemieux.
It could be, and that's the ridiculous thing.
That's what I'm so excited to see. Like, I'll enjoy watching Bedard. Obviously, I'd love him to go to the Sharks. That would completely just light a fire under this franchise. And, it's something that the Sharks have never had a first overall pick, never really had a generational, well, definitely never had a generation build talent. The closest we got was with Jumbo. And again, we traded for him.
Fair. McDavid has also entered the top 200 point scorers of all time.
He's 25.
Already?
He's in the top 200 and he's 25 years old.
Yep.
Oh my God.
He already passed. It's people were joking about it, obviously. The disrespect, because he passed Pavel Demitra in terms of all time points already.
Jesus.
And think about how absurd that is, because Pavel Demitra was an amazing fucking hockey player.
Yeah, he was.
It's absurd. It is absolutely absurd to know that he is already in the top 200.
Yep.
Number 199 right now.
Yeah, I just looked.
With 769 career points in 525 games.
Nice.
He is 1 point behind Todd Bertuzzi, who to date has played 634 more games. But he's already catching like Pavel Bure. He's 10 points behind Pavel Bure. And Pavel Bure, only played 702 career games. But like literally, he is already at that level where you think about how legendary and celebrated Pavel Bure is, even though we know it didn't last in terms of longevity. He is already in that conversation. The conversation's literally already there. Is Connor McDavid a Hall of Famer if he retires tomorrow with the hardware he's won, production?
Yeah.
And I think most people would say yes, and I don't think they'd be wrong.
Yes, I had a discussion on Twitter with after John Scott said a fucking thing on his podcast how he wouldn't, if he was building a playoff team, he wouldn't take McDavid, and it was the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. And like someone's there defending it, like I'm like, he's like, yeah, but he's not the most complete player. I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter. Like he is an unreal skill that we have not seen since Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux. Like you can get other guys to be complete players.
I don't know how someone takes that stance right now. Like, I get the idea of like, yeah, you need a Kopitar, a Taves, a Bergeron to win.
It's the old school mentality.
Yeah, but we literally just saw Nathan MacKinnon win a Stanley Cup.
Oh, that was the argument that he's a more complete player. I'm like, it's pretty close. Like, he's not known for his great defense, and Connor McDavid has improved two-way quite a bit. But yeah, it doesn't matter. Like,
yeah.
And again, who was behind McKinnon? Nazem Kadri. Like, he is the much more complete player than Nathan MacKinnon. Is he better than Nathan MacKinnon? No. Would you take him over Nathan MacKinnon? No. Like, it's nuts. But yeah. And honestly, Connor McDavid has 57 career playoff points and I think 34 career playoff games. You have to score in the playoffs still. There's your fucking ticket. Like, I don't understand the people's logic who wouldn't take the best player in the world.
I would like to rely on my goalie, a la Mike Smith, in 2012 with the Coyotes, who almost got them to a cup final.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to rely on. Give me a team built around Mike Smith and some strong grit. Oh, wait, the Oilers tried that. It didn't work. Yeah. So, shout out to Connor McDavid. He needs all the hype and attention that he can get, clearly. The Norris Trophy. Erik Karlsson's still the favorite.
He's so fucking crazy good right now. I don't understand it. Like, I have started to watch a few more Sharks games just to watch Erik Karlsson because this resurgence by him is special. It's so special, and it sucks that he's doing it in this situation with the Sharks. Like, I would like, what if a couple of years ago? That's my biggest question when we first acquired him.
Now, points aren't everything, obviously, but when talking about the Norris Trophy, defenders who put up a lot of points are often the ones that are favorited. He right now, second place in terms of points, and this guy hasn't gotten enough credit this year, is Winnipeg's Josh Morrissey, 42 points in 37 games this year. Erik Karlsson has 53 in 39, so 11 more points and only 2 more games played. On the Sharks, the Jets are at least in the freaking playoff conversation, It's astonishing and easily one of the stories of the season is what Erik Karlsson has done.
It's unfortunate that it's happening in a time of the Sharks' history where they're just really bad. And I do feel bad for Erik because he came here to win, and the Sharks unfortunately made like 1 or 2 bad calls that completely shifted that trajectory, as well as Karlsson not being, 100% those years when he's battling existing injuries, trying to learn how to adjust his game to figure out how he can do what he used to do on that surgically repaired ankle, but all the lingering injuries that he had, groin injuries, hand injuries, like he just couldn't stay healthy, and now he is. So, and look at him go,
and look at him go from disrespectful billboards to putting the team on his back. I still
fuck that appliance company, by the way. I'm gonna find him.
That's fucking ridiculous. Vezina Trophy right now, the top 3, and I don't know if we would have guessed the number one, in my opinion.
This record is stupid, by the way. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So, in reverse order here for highest save percentage. Now, among starters, there is another goalie on Carolina who I'm going to mention for the rookies. Ilya Sorokin, 2.3 goals against average and a .926 save percentage. Great numbers for the Islanders. Connor Hellebuck for the Jets, a .232 goals against average and a .928 save percentage. Boston's Linus Ullmark, 21-1-1 on the season with a .939 save percentage and a .186 goals against average.
It's cracked, my guy. Holy crap.
That's like Jonathan Quick level cup win stats in the playoffs.
For Linus Ullmark, and that might be where the detractors kick in of like, hey, we saw him on Buffalo, and well, clearly this is just him on a better team. I don't think you can take that away from him. The idea that, he was
goalie.
bad on Buffalo. No shit. Most goalies would be.
Everyone was bad on Buffalo. Look at Robin Leonard. Robin Leonard was terrible on Buffalo. Like, if you went to a shootout with Robin Leonard on the Sabres, it was a free win. It was essentially a free win. It was ridiculous. It wasn't until he went and played somewhere else and became a name for himself. Like, goalies don't play well in Toronto and Buffalo, fittingly enough. Well, now that's changed, but like, seriously, goalies never played well there. Goalies
Craig
never
Anderson's
played well there.
top 5 in save percentage right now for the Sabres.
Yeah.
It's probably, he gets 50 shots a game, so.
Law of averages, you're probably going to stop a lot of them.
I'm happy for Craigie though, dude. With what he's been through in his like personal life, family and stuff, and like the fact that he's 42 and has a top 5. Did you say top 5 or top 10?
Top 5.
Oh my god, a top 5 save percentage at age 42.
Yeah,
dumb.
Nuts, absolutely nuts. But yeah, Linus Ullmark has been amazing, and like, look, the Bruins in general have been amazing. Like, it's ridiculous to see just how good they've been. Nobody expected them to be this good. The whole last hurrah, bring Krejci back. Here's Jim Montgomery, and how's that going to go? It has been a dream season so far. I don't think you can take anything away from Ullmark just because the team in front of him is great. You also have to be great, and he has been the best goalie in the NHL so far this season.
Yeah, like, you still have to be a good goaltender. Like, think of all the years of like great teams who maybe had a subpar goaltender, like at times. Toronto.
Yeah.
Though to be fair, in the beginning, Freddie Anderson was stealing them games.
Colorado, this playoff season, this past playoff, to be real.
The disrespect to Ben Scrivens, I won't stand for it.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Ben Scrivezna. The top rookie, the Calder Trophy, because again, I don't think there's too much of a debate there for a lot of these awards. Right now, it comes down, in my opinion, to 2 of these players. Matty Beniers has been the front runner in terms of point getters for rookies. He has 25 points in 35 games for Seattle. Second place in terms of scoring is Maselli on the Coyotes, but he's currently injured. He had 22 points in 30 games. You had a couple of the guys who were at 20. I think Mason McTavish is one of them. And then there's the one guy who I think might steal this away from Matty Beniers right now. And it's not Edmonton's Stuart Skinner, although he's been okay. And it's no longer Vegas's Logan Thompson.
Here it is. It's
Peter Chetkov of the Carolina Hurricanes won the December Rookie of the Month. Carolina's won like 11 or 12 games in a row. He went and has, at this point in the season, he's 10-1-4 with a .928 save percentage and a .194 goals against average. Again, you could say, well, he's on Carolina, good defensive team, but I don't think you could take that away from too many people. Like, you still have to stop the fucking puck.
Yeah, he's still a solid goaltender.
And we've seen great teams have goaltenders who have dragged them down. He is not doing that. Like, you can really only judge a goalie for just, in my opinion, yeah, it's a factor. But an example I'll always have is once Carey Price's game was starting to slip, number one goalie. Once his game was starting to slip, it was always like, oh, it's the defense. And my example was in one of those same seasons, Antti Ranta had a .930 save percentage on a shit Coyotes team. Like, yes, you can factor it into the conversation, but it's not the entire conversation. Like, oh, how bad someone's team is. Kachekhov's been fucking amazing. They've already re-signed him to an extension over a month ago at this point, which is looking like one hell of a wise decision. On November 23rd, they re-signed him to a deal starting next year, 4 years at $2 million.
$2 million. That's a steal.
Holy fuck.
That is a steal. 100%.
Boston's got to win the cup this year, and Carolina's
Uh-huh.
needs to get one within the next couple while he's on that deal.
Yes. Carolina's been in that conversation, as Steve Dangle will attest to with his preview videos. They've been in that conversation of like, this is the year for like 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
If Carolina does not win a cup in the next couple of years, they will go down as one of the biggest missed opportunity teams in the history of the NHL.
Yeah.
Especially given that they added Brent Burns this year. And, oh yeah, there's some guy named Max Pacioretty who's going to be making his season debut sometime this month.
I forgot about him.
And they're as good as they are in first place in their division without him.
Mm-hmm.
They have to. They absolutely have to. They are way, way too promising to fall short beyond this. They're also dealing with Freddie. I mean, hell, Freddie Anderson getting hurt and only playing 8 games this year opened up the window for Kachekov to do what he's doing. So all is looking great for Carolina right now. And I think, you look at Beniers and Carolina's goaltender there as the two favorites. Then the final two that we have here, the Jack Adams for top coach and the Jim Gregory Award for top GM. This is often so tied to like the top of the standings. Top coach, Jim Montgomery in Boston.
100%.
They're the best team in the NHL. Brind'Amour in Carolina should always be up there. Sheldon Keefe in Toronto. They are a top 5 team right now. Peter DeBoer, first year in Dallas.
So yeah, it's always the first year, baby. Dallas and Boston finals, book it. With DeBoer losing.
Called it.
Because it always happens.
Oh my god.
I think without a doubt it has to be Boston's. Oh, sorry, you weren't even done with the list.
No, I was going to mention Bruce Cassidy in Vegas and then Lindy Ruff in New Jersey.
Montgomery.
Yeah.
Remember, like, there's so many questions about Boston at the beginning of the season. Yeah, you got Krejci, you got Bergeron back. How much of an impact are they going to make? Quite an impact. And again, for me, I've watched some Boston games. Their system this year is ridiculous. They've completely changed the way that they play hockey while still keeping all of the dynamics and intangibles and whatever else that they have, because they have those players still. Like they designed a system to create more offense while still being good defensively. And obviously they have the players. They're still going to be in your face. They're still going to be Boston Bruins. That's just always what the Bruins are. And Steve Dangle had a great quote about this, is like, when Boston trades for a guy, he's a Boston Bruin. When they draft a guy, they draft a Boston Bruin. Like, and goddamn, this coach he's incredible. Like their offense is ridiculous. Like they're cycling the way they go into an umbrella and 5-on-5 because fuck you, and they create offense from it. Like, oh, they're a pleasure to watch, and I'm jealous of that, Tougie.
It's just been so unexpected, to be honest. Like, really, it has been.
That's why I think he's got to be the guy.
Yeah, just the idea of how good this has gone, and it just sets the expectations so damn high to have to perform in the playoffs, as it should be, though. That was the expectation this year, is essentially one more run. So, for GM of the year, I refuse to put Don Sweeney up there for one move in particular. Sorry, you're disqualified. So it's Don Waddell in Carolina. Bringing in Brent Burns, bringing in Pacioretty for,
and now the
essentially
extension,
dirt cheap for both.
Yeah.
Kyle Dubas, while he has kind of dug his own hole with certain contracts, he has done a good job of getting people in for cheap in roles. I wouldn't put him as the number one guy, certainly, but he's in the conversation. And then my winner, if it's not Don Waddell, and I said this on Twitter the other day, it's Jim Nill of the Dallas Stars, because there has been another move made by the Stars that I cannot fucking believe they have gotten away with. Like all of last year, it's like, what the hell are they going to do? And it's literally the Jesse Pinkman meme of he can't keep getting away with it. Yet somehow he does. Jim Nill just re-signed Joe Pavelski to a 1-year deal next year at $3.5 million. Which is
wow.
Good for Pavs, man. You know, he got his bag. He got the extra year that he wanted on the 7, and now he wants to win. And so he's going to come back with no state tax and a nice 3.5 mil. That's such a sick contract.
Joe Pavelski, last year in San Jose, his last year, as in not last year, but his last year in San Jose, was 18-19. He had 64 points in 75 games with 38 goals. His first year in Dallas, he only had 31 points in 67 games. And it's like, oh shit, maybe San Jose made the right call. His last 3 years as a Star, 51 points in 56 games, 81 points in 82 games, and now he has 37 and 38 this season. $3.5 million.
Hey man, at least we kept Evander Kane. Oh.
This, after re-signing Rupe Hintz to an 8-year deal at $8.5 million starting next year, after signing Jason Robertson to a 4-year deal at under $8 million.
I can't believe that.
Holy fuck!
The fact
and
that
Jake Ottinger, 3 years, $4 million.
Yeah.
Jim Mill.
Cups, it's got to be Boston this year, Dallas next year, and then Carolina.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. That's
Dallas should win a cup in the 2020s. They should. So should Carolina. So should Edmonton. So should
I want Pavs to have it.
I agree. It would be nice to see Joe Pavelski have that.
Captain America, baby.
Jim Nill, GM of the year. Holy fuck.
Yeah, I gave him the nod for the best one in the last 10 years, too. That we had that conversation in one of the last episodes. And he's really good. Again, just keep the owner's mouth shut and let Jim Nill work his magic.
Pretty much. Yeah, so hey, I'm intrigued to see what we think in February, but for the most part, these have stayed very similar throughout the season so far, particularly, of course, Connor McDavid being the guy.
Yeah.
Only other things I want to talk about here to wind down the show. I'll talk about Detroit first. Endo Mills had his best Christmas gift of all when Jake Wallman hit the gritty after scoring an overtime winner.
Oh my god, everyone was the amount of old white men. I was sick. It's probably what it was. Being like, the gritty's in the game. Yeah, they did the gritty. It's winning it. All these kids with the gritty and the Michigans and the flying machines and like all that stuff. Like, just
pops.
The future is now, old man. Like, let people have a little personality. I'm sorry they don't have a suit while they're on the ice, being all like, well, I just gotta get pucks in deep, and we gotta pass the puck around, and like, I get it. Hockey is becoming quote unquote less more selfish, or what people can say. Like, let people have a little bit of personality. Like, let's be real. Come on.
They're flying machines.
The old city folk and their flying machines.
Amazing. And also for Detroit, the big news of the day, Jakub Vrana has been placed on waivers. Now, this is a player who was doing very, very well, and then not all that long ago entered the player assistance program. He has been back in the AHL on a conditioning stint. Played 3 games there. Got to be honest, I mean, just looking at the stat line, no points, -5. So for the Red Wings, putting him on waivers pretty much comes down to the thought of, like, you are not ready to play in the NHL. Like, you need a little bit more time to kind of get things going here.
Yeah.
He is on a deal worth $5.25 for this year and next. Player of his caliber shouldn't be on waivers, but I think it's a special, exception to that rule. I think he clears. I don't really see what team would, and people are wondering, like, if they have an agreement with all the other GMs because of his circumstances being in the assistance program, which I don't think is the case. Like the idea that all 31 other GMs like, yeah, we'll just let them go through the kindness of our hearts. Maybe people are that way, and that would be great if they were. But in a general sense, I do think he will clear waivers just because that is a whole lot of money to pick up for someone who has played 5 hockey games since the conclusion of last season. So I'd like to think he's going to clear waivers and stick around with Detroit and get called back up. Maybe we see something crazy, though. But the NHL isn't often a place where we see kind of crazy transactions happen. But at the very least, he's back. He's healthy and playing hockey, which is good. Only other thing, then, is the Winter Classic. Sin, how'd you like the game?
It's terrific. Really good hockey was played, and both of the yellow and black teams did good hockey.
A game played in Boston at
Bumblebee.
Fenway Park, owned by John Henry, who also owns the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah.
It was his dream come true.
Jesus. I wonder how much money he... That's all he has. He's like, hell yeah, my money, baby.
He made money. He also got booed viciously. Because he's letting the Red Sox fall apart, and yeah, it's a good time.
Ooh.
Good time. So I didn't go to this game, and severe FOMO.
Wait, I thought you were going. Weren't you trying to go at one point?
Yes. So what had happened was I got engaged in August.
Oh.
And essentially it came down to I was able to do 2 of 3 things. Set money aside for the wedding. Have my fiance come with me to Finland next month. Or the Winter Classic. I could have done all 3. It would have been a bit of a hit.
Yeah. So
I elected to do 2 out of 3, and the Winter Classic was the one that fell, because if you did not get tickets at the start, you were fucked.
Yeah.
Because we're talking a baseball field.
Yeah.
The worst seats in the house were $400 just before Christmas.
Ugh.
And the resale market didn't dip. Couple days before the game, ticket prices were up to $700-800 for those same seats.
Jesus.
Yeah. And as much as I wanted to show no shame and just be like, hi, professional friends who are going to be there that I'm not going to name right now, can you get me the hookup? I didn't want to do that. Like I'm not that type to just be like, help me get to this thing, please. Help me get to this event. I just didn't want to do it. So I would have loved to have gone just to, again, you go for the experience of it, right?
Yeah.
You go to that, you can't see a fucking thing.
No, the Stadium Series was pretty whack when I went to see the Sharks and the Kings. Like, it wasn't hockey, but it was, I guess, cool. Like, say I can.
And that's all I've heard. I have friends from Pittsburgh who have gone to like the Heinz Field game and stuff like that for the Penguins. You can't see a fucking thing. You are there for the atmosphere. And would I have paid $200 for 2 people? $400 in total for the atmosphere? Yes. By the time other things were sorted, there was just I couldn't justify $400 a person to be outside for 3 hours just to hear loud noises.
And it's cold as fuck, I bet, too.
No, it was like 50 degrees yesterday.
That's cold.
We've California.
Fucking California, Jesus.
It's normally below freezing here at best, and
we've been getting a shit ton of rain, man. So it's been dipping in like the 40s, and even at night it sometimes gets to freezing here. So we get some frost in the morning.
Ooh,
yeah.
Ooh, how nice! How nice for you.
We're spending our rain budget all this year. Apparently, we're gonna have another drought for the next decade. Enjoy.
God, ridiculous. So the Winter Classic itself, though, do want to say for the Penguins, Chris Letang missed the game due to the passing of his father, which what a fucking horrible couple of months for Chris Letang now. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So best wishes to him and his family. The game itself, Sin, you mentioned it earlier, the idea of like, has the Winter Classic lost its luster? And yeah, you're not the only one who's like, oh yeah, the Winter Classic's today. And in a general sense, during the game, a lot of the commentary, while it was a pretty good presentation, is it's just like, oh, okay, it's the Winter Classic. it certainly, and I mean, it's been what, 15 years since the Penguin Sabres first one. Like, it's bound to lose its luster, and there's been Stadium Series and Heritage Classics, and they have driven this golden goose into a grave, essentially. But it is a concept that's a license to print money.
Yeah.
So, but I enjoyed the game. The Bruins won 2-1. Jake DeBrusk 2 goals in the third period to win it. Very, very happy for Jake DeBrusk. We mentioned earlier the idea of players requesting trades and then it doesn't happen and they can stick around and good things can happen. That is Jake DeBrusk, where this has been, as good of a situation as it possibly could have been for him to stick around with the team after clearly he and Bruce Cassidy didn't get along. And, this season, he has 30 points in 36 games, which he is very much on pace to have a career high. For Jake DeBrusk, I mean, unfortunately, his career high is 43 points in his rookie year. I think he's a player of a better caliber than that. And yeah, I mean, he's on his pace to hit over 60 this year. If he hits 50, I'll be pretty happy with that. So all in all, I hate that I missed out on the experience. The game was entertaining to watch, though, from the comfort of my couch. I am jealous of all the friendos who were able to go. That said, 2024, they announced the next Winter Classic, which will be held in Seattle as the Kraken will take on the Vegas Golden Knights.
Definitely the most logical matchup, Not
Sin,
Vancouver.
would you believe me if I said the internet's big mad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should be. They have all the reason to be. Number 1, fuck Vegas. Number 2, have Seattle play Vancouver. Like, that was supposed to be the rivalry. Put them in a Winter Classic together. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
And
So
mid.
They gotta keep stroking Vegas's dick.
I'm okay with this being the Winter Classic matchup. I do love the
They don't even have
fans.
winners in Vegas.
That's why it's being held in Seattle.
Oh my god.
I love how mad some people have gotten over it. It's like, give us new teams in the Winter Classic. No, not those teams.
Like, I get it. Yeah, I was sick of seeing the same old, and everyone's like, it's got to be original 6. And it's like, cool, new teams. But I just like to chirp Vegas anytime. Any chance I can get, here's an opportunity. Fuck them. But yeah, it's kind of weird why you don't have Seattle and Vancouver. That doesn't make sense. But I like Seattle. Cool. Bring it to the West.
Yeah.
And it makes sense for trying to grow the game more in Seattle. It's the NHL doing the smart thing for their newest investment.
Right. It's a very, very logical choice. Like, one can argue, what they could have done, should have done in terms of what other teams could have had a Winter Classic now, one of the Florida teams, whatever. I don't view this as an issue whatsoever. I think it'll be pretty damn cool. And yeah, people like to complain. We know this, and that's okay. Let people complain, and it's not going to change anything. I still think it'll be an entertaining Winter Classic to watch. And yeah, this was a good opportunity to be able to essentially dunk on people, which is always a fun time.
Yeah. I already know that Seattle's going to go with the Millionaires or Sockeyes design for their Winter Classic jersey. And then Vegas is going to go with either the Wranglers or the Outlaws. Either that one.
I totally forgot they're going to have some obnoxious jersey creation.
Green and red for the Sockeyes and have brown pants. There you go. You're done. Perfect. And for Vegas, go fuck yourself. That's it.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need, though, is more jerseys for sale. Let's keep making the money.
First you get the power, then you get the money, then you get the wow.
Okay.
That is indeed how it happens.
Okay, back on target with the Winter Classic. I'm not sure if we talked about it yet, but Tristan Jarry got injured. And in his place was who was the other guy? I can't remember.
Casey
the Smith. Casey the Smith goes in that. And then, so every team knows the whole e-bug situation where you have to have a basic guy to fill in and all that stuff like that. So they had someone fill in for an e-bug. And First it was, oh, this guy. Oh, who is he? Oh, he's Sidney Crosby's friend. People screaming nepotism. And they said that he was like a landscaper or whatever. And then the story broke out that he was a youth goaltending instructor who just happened to be friends with Sidney Crosby and has been their team's e-bug for like the past like at least 2-3 years. And everyone's screaming like, oh, it's just a nepotism hire because you were friends, like whatever. It's like, yeah, that'd be pretty fucking sick. You kidding me? You know how awesome it would be to be just to sit in the stands and just be able to go to the game for free because your buddies
to be Sidney Crosby's friend.
Yeah, that'd be pretty rad.
That'd be pretty cool.
Didn't the man just get like the Order of Canada or some shit?
He got nominated. He got nominated for the Order of Canada.
What the hell's the Order of Canada?
So it's basically the highest level of civilian regard.
Oh, so it's like knighting, but not as cool.
Yeah.
Because you guys are still British light. Still have the Queen on your money, by the way. That pisses off Quebec too. I bet every time they have to look at the Queen on the money.
It's time to end the show. Instead of knighting, Mr. Justin Trudeau hands you a black marker.
Hold on, you missed a spot. Let me help you with that one right there.
Everybody, it was great to be back. We thank you for listening and watching, supporting the Tougies Take podcast. We will see you all later on this week. Gentlemen, it was a good one. Endo, what do you have going on?
Aside from doing sports gamer stuff with the ECL Pro, which is, I think that's going to be more consistent, who knows, whenever. But fingers crossed on that regard. I just stream. I just play whatever the hell I want now on twitch.tv/endomills. I also have merch. Again, I keep shilling the merch, but I keep forgetting to actually show stuff. But yeah, I'm going to have a giveaway at the end of the month for some sweaters and some shirts and all that fun stuff over at endomills.ca. Yeah, that's right. I got a website with my name.
Yeah.
.ca because .com was like $80 and I'm like, yeah, fuck that shit. This is Canada.
Amazing. Sin, what are you going on in the new year, friend?
Yeah.
Catching up on
what
sleep.
I have going on? Yeah, what do I have going on? That's a good question. Not a whole lot, man. I totally thought I had something to say, but I don't know.
It's okay. Sometimes you just don't have anything to say.
No.
That's okay. Especially for a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see you later on this week, everybody. Thank you for listening, watching, supporting, and never forget that George Washington was 4'2".